Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to go over the PvP teams for the Season 17 that I have used in the second World Arena, and I already have few changes planned around, so it will get updated. Not sure if I will cover it in the video, but these are the current teams I have gotten the rank 1 with, and in my opinion they're pretty strong but not unbeatable, so I know a few ways to actually adjust them. I have kind of spread around the strength too much in my opinion when it comes to those teams, which was always the goal of the World Arena, but since you can manipulate the first two attacks to be either a win or lose depending on what you wanna do, since you can see the enemy first two teams, you can always adjust towards them and that way have like 7 actual teams instead of 9. So the first team is going to be the Avenger Monarchs. This is one of the strongest teams in the game in my opinion. Leviathan here is the key part along with all of these heroes. So all of these heroes are kind of key and crucial heroes in the team because they all play a massive part. Albert here is to stop two enemies from hitting their ultimates because of his pessimism ability on his legendary runes. So once you get his legendary runes you can apply pessimism, which stops enemies from using their ultimates. Leviathan here does kind of the same, but actually reflects back their skills at them and kills them. This is mainly one of the strongest counters when it comes to Dooms, so you can use this team against Dooms because you have Leviathan to counter enemy Leviathan. So your Aphrodite, which gets high boost from Hela, doesn't kill herself by hitting enemies, and same could be said for the Isis. Albert is a utility hero in here. He provides the synergies, he provides the pessimism, and he provides the skill damage boost. Leviathan here provides the sustain with her skill reflect, with her monarch passive, and also with her reflect boost, and also with her HP boost, with her legendary runes. Her legendary runes are really strong. I suggest everyone to get them that is doing PvP. They apply 100%, they apply the boost to the base stats, which is very unique, and it's really strong. And Hela here is for the CC. Since this team lacks plenty of CC, Hela is here to take hits and reflect the hits, or rather the stun, back to enemies after taking the 5 hits. She also increases HP additionally on top of Leviathan and also gives us a massive attack boost. This team is kind of unkillable because you're using Banner, you have plenty of holy shields, you're using the mask for the 3 immunities in the team, and you're also using the planar gate to be kind of safe against the 3 users. We are also very slow because this team doesn't have any speed boost. Albert is the weakest member here. He is actually the lowest HP member on the team too, so enemy heroes like Pandora and Everhand Diana and any other hero that actually targets the low HP heroes will be forever stuck on the Albert, and even in the round 2 during the planar gates duration and the 3, Albert, because he's so slow, he will be just tanking all of those hits forever and not dying to them. So he is a crucial member of this team. I suggest you getting him legendary runes because he's really a very simple hero that is really usable in a lot of teams, especially the Avengers Monarchs, and he's been here for a few seasons already, and I don't think he will be gone from this team. When it comes to the artifacts, I'm using the additional holy shields provided from the relics, so I have even more sustain in this team. But yeah, I rate this team like 8 out of 10. I believe it's one of the strongest teams in the game and should not be overlooked. It's really strong. That's the first team. The second team is the Ethereals without a fate. These Ethereals do work, but I do believe it's because of these relics. These relics are kind of... We have Sarcophagus because it's 9 stars to proc our Scepter instantly, which will remove the Lucifer stat steal and make us be able to kill him. And then we also have Cauldron to give us immunity during the first round. So if you're going against the Mirror Ethereals or any kind of Ethereals, even with Lucifer, you're able to actually kill them because of the cleansing of his steel and because you're immune to freeze. The Cauldron gives you immunity to damage instance, which also makes you immune to CC like freeze. Therefore, you have an advantage when going against enemy Ethereals. The reason for the positioning, so for the first and second team, because we have Hope Tree that gives energy on action, I have the heroes that do multiple actions in the back row because that's where my points are. So all of the heroes that can repeat their action are in the back row because I want additional energy. Using Arcane Dorabella in here would not yield me the same energy with Lilith because they simply don't do as many actions or even similar to actions. Lilith here is pretty replaceable, but you don't want to use Izanami because Izanami doesn't work with the Elisha. Elisha gets like pretty much benched and only becomes the synergy filler for this team if you deploy Izanami. You can instead use Wukong, but I found using Lilith the best in this team. I do wish I could use Karnak in here, but he's a Celestial and I really do want to have two Deviants in a team. The ideal slot is for the Monarch, but we don't really have any other Monarch that is not Fate, for like example Hela or the Lucifer. So unfortunately I am using Lilith, but this team has been doing really good. So I'm not overall too unhappy with it, but it could be better if you deploy a Fate instead of Lilith. And also Amaterasu is just too strong. I found benching her gives me far worse results. I'm not entirely sure why is that, but she just simply makes Ethereals much better. So I will consider actually Xing her so I have 9 Ethereals in the future, assuming that this team doesn't change, but it probably will because we are getting the new Halloween in the next season. For the artifact, I'm running the Ethereal attack boost, pretty simple, and yeah, overall can't go wrong with that. The rating for this team I'm going to give is like 7 out of 10. It's slightly weaker than these Avengers in my opinion, but it can beat them assuming the RNG is pretty good, assuming you don't get stolen by Aphrodite infinite times and don't get reflected back your own freeze. But yeah, it can beat this team, but it's not that common, so you can also get permalogged by Hela because you will be spamming abilities on them and you will be just getting stunned. And also on top of that, this team doesn't have shields to enable the enemy Venus. So yeah, overall I'm giving this team a 7 out of 10, whereas this team is 8 out of 10. The third team is the full Avengers, so this is the full team that I'm running and is actually working, but I have some improvements to do. So let me talk about the team first originally and then I will be making those improvements. So this team is 4 Avengers, 5 Phantoms and 4 Valiantors. 4 Valiantors don't really play a massive role in this, but they still do help. The 4 Avengers are like the minimal amount of Avengers you can have, and you should be able to use Yingzheng with 5, assuming he gets to X, or you can actually use Arcana. You would be dropping down to 4 Phantoms in that case, but you would be far stronger, which is where I get to my upgrades. So this team is basically having Death Knight, have your Narissa and the full be immortal unless the Death Knight dies. The Death Knight has many revivals because of Phantoms, because of the Avengers, so your full is pretty much safe. The goal is to guard the full so she can keep applying her buff every single round to all of our allies, and since Avengers after that keep their buffs, it's pretty significant boost, especially if you get it on Narissa. She will be spamming her 200% damage boosted ultimates all around. Really strong thing. The relics are pretty bad because I do use them to basically just get the 4 Avengers relic synergy, or rather the 2 stars. And yeah, it's really bad because I do use my main relics on the last team. So as you can see, this is the another team of Avengers. So I'm running 3 total teams of Avengers, and this team is slightly weaker. It's not that it doesn't win, it's just simply weaker than the team before. And the reason for that, I believe, is there's no main DPS spammer in the team, so usually Arcana or Jenna or Althea are the main damage. Cleopatra is a filler in this pretty much for the synergies, and we have the better relics in here. So this team I would rate like 4 out of 10, but the issue is you're just wasting too many resources, so I'm going to disband it. I do not suggest running this team, it was an experiment, but it did work to an extent, so I'm just quite happy about that. So to actually just revamp this team, I would be using this, the Magatama and the Torch for the HP boost, and I would actually bench the Yingzheng for someone like either Arcana or Primordial Arcana. Now, I'm not sure which one would be better. I'm going to assume the Arcana, just because we get 5 Avengers, we also get 5 Phantoms, and she will be able to apply her protection to the Detonate, so the Detonate will not die, which means more uptime for our Narissa and for our Fool. Although I do wish I could use my Arcana in here as well, but that would be issue because the Celestial is the Hera, and we cannot really swap Hera for anyone apart from Althea, which is not better. Hera is just simply a better hero in this case. So yeah, maybe I would keep the lens for my Arcana team, so I would probably do the Zephyr Spear instead, just because the Avengers don't really need to have the OP relics, they're already OP by themselves. But yeah, overall the rating for this original team I would give also 8 out of 10 because it was really strong. It was winning a lot of battles, especially considering it had no Fate unit, and it still doesn't. So yeah, overall this team is really strong. And for the relics or for the artifact, I'm running the Avengers attack increase. And yeah, as I explained before, Narissa is a spammer. She's in position back row, so she can generate more energy for my Hope Tree. So yeah, when it comes to the 9th team, I'm not sure what I would have done, but I would probably just make even more changes to the 3rd team, even in the future. I would probably use Arcana instead of the Arcana, just because of the effects of her. And because of this, I would be able to use the stronger hero being Primordial Arcana in other team, which I will see about later. But yeah, for now, let me keep the original stance of this team, which was actually this, to go back to it to how it was. So yeah, as I said, I rate this team like 8 out of 10. It's really strong, especially considering it has no Fate heroes. It was able to beat Fate heroes all apart Lucifer. Obviously, Lucifer has its own uniqueness, and we don't really have a counter to Lucifer in this team, unlike in here, because we do have Scepter in here, and in here we have Leviathan or the Aphrodite, which can often steal against Lucifer, and Leviathan can just reflect the stolen stats damage back to themselves. The next team is pretty simple, it's the Dooms. These Dooms are kind of weaker because they don't have Leviathan in it, but they still do the work. You can replace Arthur if you want, but mine is X, so I'm just using the 9 Dooms, and it's a really strong team. It's nothing ideal, but it's nothing bad. Ideal is with Leviathan, obviously, in this slot, and probably benching the Behemoth for the Victoria, but that's about it. But those changes are pretty minimal, and you want to use Sarijana Yushta in the back for the invincibility. You want Susano and Babylon in the back for the spammability of the energy for the Hope Tree. But if you don't want your Babylon stand, you can use Behemoth in here, so she can basically die faster, and have her be the suicide bot and be the Susano main one for the energy region, and keep your Babylon safe in the position number 2, because the enemies, especially in mirror matchup, you will be spamming Babylon against Babylon, and since they hit the backline, you will just be permanently stunning each other, and the first one to stun would probably be the first one to win. For the relics, these are pretty much the common Doom relics. I always run these relics on them. I only change the first one depending on its availability, so I often use either a lens here or the telescope. Both are fine, but the middle 2 relics, or rather the middle one and the last one, are always the same. The artifact is always the Doom's one. But yeah, overall, I'm giving this team like 5 out of 10. I don't think it's better than the Lilith because it doesn't have the Leviathan. The Lilith version of Ethereals are weaker if the enemy has Leviathan, but since Dooms don't have it, they are significantly weaker than their original form. So yeah, overall they're just simply not that good without the Fate hero and without Leviathan. Leviathan just makes them too strong because of her HP increasing the base stats, and their reflect rate overall goes so much higher with her in the team. So yeah, overall 5 out of 10, probably the weakest team I have covered so far. The next team is going to be the Valtor Protectors. This is a team that was actually winning quite a lot. The logic behind the relics is you have the Vanquisher, which can remove Lucifer debuffs, but it's RNG because it will prioritize the CC. So we have the chest, which makes the Vanquisher cast multiple times. We have the Night's Edge because it's a 3-round cooldown relic, which means we get to proc our Vanquisher once more at the 4th round or the 3rd round, depending on how the battle goes. But yeah, overall it's a really strong team, it's a really winning team, and it has Odin and Pandora, which I don't really like pairing a lot because their skills do stack, but I just wish it would be used in the others. We have Victoria, which makes this team far better, and before I used to run the Death Knight in here with the full, but it was really weird benching either of these 4 heroes for the full. So this was Death Knight spot, and it was positioned like this. But since Death Knight and the Fool kind of want to be together, I'm not sure how else to play the Valiantors, but these ones worked. So I'm giving this team like 6 out of the 10, and the Diana is better in the back row for the energy region. So this is the positioning I would do, and you can also do Odin in here in case she pops off, which is really common. So yeah, overall pretty strong team, but it's nothing amazing because, as I said, you're losing Death Knight, you're losing the Fool, and you're not using the top tier relics that you could be using for these Valiantors. So overall 6 out of 10, pretty solid team, can lose, can win. It's like a slightly stronger than the middle, and it can often beat the Dooms. It's not a really amazing thing because the Dooms are really just so weak without the Leviathan in the team. The next team I have is 8 Glorians. This team is like a 7 out of 10. It's really strong, but the issue I lack is not having the Loki's Crown at 9 stars. The instant crown proc would be making this team like 8 out of 10, I believe, and Judgment not being 12 without runes is also making this team give me slightly worse performance than I would expect, and probably not having Yorm X too. So once you Yorm X or Wuzetian X, once you get your Judgment 12 with runes and your Loki's Crown to 9 stars, this team is close to unbeatable. Especially if you give it the Fate hero like Lucifer instead of Wuzetian, then you're pretty much set. You have a CC immunity forever. This is mainly against the tree that has silence. It's really strong. You have CC immunity in case of enemy having Chronos to banish you. You have CC immunity against Ethereals or any kind of stun, which is really common these days. And we have Judgment for our Leviathan or Ape-like effect, which blocks enemy skills. We have the Glorian relics to get as many buffs as possible, and Kusanagi to actually be able to penetrate enemies, because this team does kind of lack damage. If your Loki or Marina die, then these 3 heroes don't really do damage, but rather just provide survivability and like more chance of living through enemies damage. So yeah, the main damage is Loki and Marina, followed by Yorm and Judgment, and Wuzetian is here only to Phantom Illusion enemies and steal the heroes and give you protection with it. The issue with it is, as I said, not having maxed out team can give you fake results, so you might be better off splitting them, but in general it's not that worth splitting the synergies, just because these boosts get crazy at some point and they're really too strong to be split. As I said, overall I give this team 7 out of 10, but it's possible way to raise it to 8 out of 10 because of just how simply strong the Judgment is at 12 stars and with her runes. The next team is going to be the Mystifiers with the 3. I'm using this version of Mystifiers and the next one. The next one is using Lucifer instead of the 3, so I kind of split strength when it comes to Mystifiers. This is like the most common base Mystifier team you would use, unless you're using Lucifer with Venus, which is the second, which is probably one of the strongest teams in the battle. And you don't really want to use the key with the tree. As I said multiple times, the tree makes the key not stun for some reason, so it's bad, but I have no other relic to actually use it to instantly proc the Gleipnir and to instantly proc the tree. The tree instant proc is really important because it will remove enemy Lucifer CC still, so you're able to actually burst enemies instantly. The reason for Gleipnir is in case I'm running against enemy Asmodeus, to have speed advantage even if I'm not the one attacking, and to actually use my ultimates in the first round because I don't have Lucifer on this team. So a lot of it is just compensating for the lack of Lucifer, so I can use Lucifer in this team right here. But to rate this team, I would give it like 8 out of 10 too. It's really strong and it can be far stronger. It can be even 10 out of 10 if you use Lucifer instead of like the Tiamat in here. It's really strong, and you can also replace then Gleipnir and the key as well with these relics in this team right here, which are just simply stronger. So yeah, overall really strong team and really OP team, and we're using the stun relic to stun enemies in case enemy has some kind of way to stun me back or perma freeze me. So yeah, overall really strong team, 8 out of 10 for sure. It can beat a lot of teams and it can lose to a lot of teams, it happens, but most of the times it will beat teams because of the tree on it, which makes it like 10 out of 10 already. The tree is just simply unfair. So the next relic is the Lucifer, the Mystifiers. I'm using the 4 deviants because I have the telescope. I'm making them all use their ultimates instantly. I have the Python's mirror in case someone dies, and the only hero not using the ultimate instantly is Catherine, but she will be using it because of Lucifer's passive. So I have the 3 monarchs for the sustain, 4 deviants, only 6 mystifiers because my Gaia is not X'd, otherwise it would be even stronger. I'm giving this team 6 out of 10. It can be better, and I believe Lucifer has already better plays than this team, but I will see about that in the next World Arena. I don't think Lucifer's place is this good in the Mystifiers, at least these Mystifiers, because this team was losing quite a lot. That's why I'm giving it 6 out of 10, because it's able to beat teams because it has Lucifer, but just one counter like this team right here can make the team lose. So yeah, giving it 6 out of 10 in my opinion is just right. And yeah, overall I'm probably gonna be remaking this team into mixing it into one team and probably creating yet another team with Lucifer or something similar to that. And yeah, that pretty much is the last team, because I did talk about the Avengers that I ran before. So these Avengers right here, and yeah, that's probably it. So these Avengers, as I said, they were kind of strong but not too strong. I mostly used them to dodge enemy strong teams. I used it in the position 2 to face enemy Lucifer, or 3 to basically waste it. So I didn't get much of its performance view, but overall it can be better. You can probably make 3 good Avengers teams now with slight adjustments, probably using Lucifer in here instead, Cleopatra. And yeah, some changes are definitely possible, and I will be experimenting with them later on. But overall, you would be pretty safe with these teams. Unfortunately, I can't make the free-to-play player version. I would need an account that is pretty high up there with free-to-play players to basically try and build some teams that are viable for free-to-play players. So if anyone wants me to do that, I can make a video on that. If you're a free-to-play player that has been playing for a while, it has most of the heroes, not the newest one, but just most of the heroes, like up to season 15, I would be able to create some teams for those that are in the similar situation. But yeah, most of these teams, many of you can't create, unfortunately. So for example, you don't have Arcana, just simply bench her and make something that you have. Most of you won't have the Full or Death Knight, so you'll be naturally removing those heroes and instead using something like this. So if you don't have Full and Death Knight, you will be using that. This team, you should be able to have all of the heroes. This team, you won't have Judgment. In that case, you should be using Bahamut or Audrey or Shang, anyone that you have leveled up and maxed. In this team, you should be able to have everyone in there. And in this team, if you don't have anyone, just swap them with Cleo probably, or any other hero. Like Mulan is also good, Lancelot is also pretty good, Franz is also pretty good. So you have plenty of ways to swap heroes. In the second team, you should be able to have everyone. This team is quite cheap. In the first team, you also should be able to have everyone. These heroes are also cheap. So in this team, if you don't have Susano, you can use maybe Cleopatra, maybe Lamia, or just Ophelia, or even Dahlia. You can use Dahlia to use the old combo of Dahlia Arthur swapping. That's also fine. It's not gonna hurt you a lot. You can use Doris too if you want for the reflected boost. And yeah, plenty of ways to make these teams, like the budget version. So yeah, here's the final ranking for the World Arena. I was first, and there was Uranus, which is unbeatable. I did not beat him a single time. He's just too strong in the stats. As you can see, his power is absurdly insane. His everything is red. He has red runes on every single new hero. He has the new relic at 9 stars. He has all of the pets at 10 stars. His stats are just simply unreal. He's too strong to be beaten, and all of my battles go up to 15 rounds with him, and then I just simply lose out on the stats. So I just simply ignored him and was attacking everyone else. Here are the points. It was quite close. But yeah, overall it was quite close to him, but not to the others, luckily. So yeah, here are the battles. I did lose some, but I did win majority of them. The Abaddon is actually picking up and is really strong. I did have a lot of 4 to 5 losses in against him. So he's using the old version of my teams, I believe, so the unupdated one, which I found to be boring, and I found to be really bad. But yeah, here's I used the planner guide originally on the Glorians, which I did not like, so then I swapped it to this team instead. This team right here. No, where is it? This team right here. So I used the hand of tier, but that makes no sense. Using the Hanya mask without the planner gate doesn't make much sense to me. So here's the first team. It was usually a throwaway team, the team that I talked about. And the heroes actually lost to these Valiantors. These Valiantors have 3 in my original setup. The week also runs the same teams in here, my old unupdated team. So this is why I use these Avengers against these 3. And this also went up to 9 rounds. So the Valiantors did beat his, or rather mine, all the Avengers. Then we have the Glorians beating the Mystifiers. Then we have the Glorians beating my Mystifiers. And then we have the Avengers beating the Lucifer, which is quite common. Then we have the Fool beating the Dooms. And yeah, overall the Dooms are just simply the weakest, I believe, currently without Leviathan. If you're using Leviathan in here, your Dooms are just going to suffer so much. And this was my original Izanami team, so like 9 team, and it was also as bad as the Avengers, so it's just a throwaway team with Cleopatra. Whatever you can just get, so most of the times it will be bad. Dingsy is running what? I think Dingsy is also running my old data teams, so yeah, it's just simply same teams, and I'm just the one that updated them, and it's probably the reason why I'm even winning, is because I actually update my teams and they just copy them. Unfortunately, this went up to 7 rounds, and yeah, overall the Dooms actually beat the Glorians in this case. That's kind of wild. It doesn't happen that often actually. So this team beat Lucifer, this team beat Dooms, the Fool beat Dooms. The Glorians actually lost to the Ethereal somehow, so Ethereals are just strong, but this one has Fate version in it, mine doesn't. Let me see if I can see mine. Mine are just constantly fighting that one annoying team. So yeah, unfortunate when it comes to that. The Ethereals mine won the updated version. Oh, he actually has the updated version here. So he actually managed to update the teams, or actually he didn't. So he just updated his Ethereals, it seems, while running still this Tikus, whatever the name is, team from the Lucifer, and these bad Mystifiers that I can't even look at. So the Mystifiers did beat the Dooms here, and then we have Glorians beating the enemy Glorians. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. The battles were quite easy this time around, but I have some ideas for the improvement in the next arena that I will probably share, but maybe not, depending on my time. Thank you for watching, and see you guys in the next one.